Hello, hello, good morning. Good morning to you. Hello, my friends. How are you guys doing this evening? My name is Rodgon. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm a cartoonist. I'm an illustrator. And more than anything, I am a teacher. And tonight, I feel like drawing and teaching you guys some cool stuff. So, hope you guys are doing good today. Hope you guys have had a nice day. Hello. How are you guys doing today? So, what do you guys want to learn tonight? We're going to play some music like we normally do at night. We're going to play some music and we're going to be listening and drawing at the same time. So, if you guys have a sketchbook, if you guys want to come draw along, hey, more power to you guys. You guys will get better by the end of this stream, most likely, because I like to teach everything that I see. So, as you guys come into the stream, make sure to hit that little heart button. That is what allows other people to join us quicker. And that way we have a nice big audience to be able to teach more people. I'm working on arms today. Ooh, we can do arms. That sounds great, man. This is the stuff, that's the stuff that I like to hear. All right, so you're having a hard time with arms. Let's break down arms so that it's not hard for you anymore. So let's go on to a new page. And we're gonna draw arms. We're drawing arms. Let's break down arms. Breaking down. I can't spell for shit. Arms. Okay, so what is it about arms that makes it so complex for us to draw? Well, the thing is, arms have a lot of things going on for them, right? We have a bunch of overlapping lines, we have very subtle curves, and then we have this weird thing at the top called a hand. And that hand has a bunch of different elements that are, again, bend and flex in space and has a bunch of overlapping lines. And this, normally, it's a nightmare to figure out, right? Understanding this at first is an absolute nightmare. And especially if you start going into the collarbone and stuff like that, then that's a whole other set of nightmare scenarios because there's so many little tiny overlapping things that happen, right? So it just makes it a complete nightmare sometimes. So how about we break this down into sections, and then I show you guys how you can learn how to apply this really easily into your drawings. And you know what? I actually really like this theme. So for like, at least for like the first 30 minutes, I'm just going to start the stream, talk about this, and then I'm going to end the stream. And then I'm going to go back on here so that I can actually play music and stuff. But I really, really like this idea because this is normally a really hard topic for people. So arms consist of an element of a couple muscles. The first muscle is your shoulder. Your shoulder is a very interesting muscle. From the three-quarter view, it would be more akin of like this. And then you would have your pectoral muscle, your collarbone, your back muscle, and your neck. Then from there, you would have your shoulder kind of splits your arm in half. The half in front is your bicep. The half in the back is your tricep. If you take that split in the middle and you follow it down, that becomes your elbow. That elbow is going to separate your top arm and your bottom arm. So now, how do you draw your forearm? Your forearm hugs your bicep. It hugs your bicep in the front, and then it just comes down onto your wrist. So this junction, what happens is that you have your arm as a cylinder. Let's break it down like that. You split it in half to create this division between your front muscles and your back muscles. So now you have a bicep and a tricep. And then here, you can draw two circles on the side and then just use those as your guidelines for your forearm. You can use those in any direction you feel like. So thinking about your arm, kind of like a mannequin, helps you. So now that we see it like this, well, the upper part of our arm is essentially this. So it's going to be quite simple for you to think of your arm, think of two circles on the side, and then just complete your arm like that. The thing is, this sort of connection is the same way that your wrist works. So once you learn how to draw it once, you're going to be able to do that for your ankles, you're going to be able to do that for your feet, you're going to be able to do that for your knees. Like once you understand that whole concept of just pivoting alongside the axis of the bottom of your section of your foot or whatever element, you can learn how to pivot any shape in any direction. So understanding this part is just a matter of learning how that forearm hugs our bicep, and we can do that with those circles really easy. No way, I just missed the most useful advice I could have given. Let's go back and do this again. I won't cut you out. When people react like that, I can't stop but laugh. It's super funny to me. Let's repeat this. The arm consists of a couple muscles. It consists of your shoulder, 1. Consists of your bicep, 2. Consists of your tricep, the one in the back, 3. Consists of your forearm, 4. Consists of your wrist, 5. And then consists of your hand, 6. Right? Those are the things that happen within your arm. You need to learn that a part of your arm is also your chest. And this is actually number 2. So you always go 1, shoulder, 2, pectoral muscle, 3, bicep, 4, tricep, 5, forearm, 6, wrist, and then the palm of your hand. So if we count to 7, I think that was 7, right? Boom. So let's count to 7 really quick as we draw arms, okay? Let's start with a shoulder, pectorals, bicep, tricep, circle around it, forearm, palm. Cool. So now let's do it again. Let's do like one that's completely from the side. Shoulder, pectoral muscle, bicep. No, shape of the arm, I guess. Then you can do the division into the bicep and the tricep. The forearm is going to be like a circle, so you can make it hug the bicep a little bit into whatever hand. So this little curvature, this little circle at the top shape is what's giving you access to draw that overlap that you need right here. And it also gives you the flat side of the bottom of your palm. How I draw is poor in perspective. How long did the aspect of the arm take you? I'm still learning it. So it's still a matter of just understanding the arm in itself. If you want to simplify it more, it's going to be a matter of just learning how to overlap two shapes. If you learn how to overlap two shapes like this in different directions, like if you overlap this one, that means that part of the arm is going to be first, and then this. If you do it the other way, you overlap them like this, now the arm is going to be pointing a different direction. So just by literally changing that little overlapping line, I got a lot of little distinction. And then when you start adding things like your muscles, that is when you start getting the definition that you want. So even little shapes like this can have massive definition if you know where to overlap your lines. So this, learning how your arm pivots around that little circle at the bottom, is what's going to give you access to drawing your arms in many different directions, understanding how that pivot point is allowing your arm to move is very important, because you can use that and bring that into perspective, and now you have foreshortening. So it's a lot of understanding about just visualization of shapes, and essentially it all breaks down to cylinders. If you understand how to connect circles by the edges, you have cylinders, right? Learning how these work with junction with your body is very important so that you can understand how hands, arms, wrists, and other body parts connect to each other. Learning how to use these very basic shapes and overlapping lines can give you a lot of definition from very simple stuff. And as you change the shapes of them, you can get different styles. But understanding how they form themselves through overlapping shapes is the most important part. So let's go back again. Let's recap a little bit of what this means, right? So we have the arm itself consists of two parts, the upper part and the bottom part. The upper part has your shoulder and your bicep. Pew, pew, pew. The bottom part is going to be your forearm and your wrist. Actually, it's your forearm, your wrist, and your palm. That's what these two equal to. They overlap a little bit over each other. And that is how you start getting that definition. When you start pivoting it from the right place, that's when you can start moving your hand to different directions. So understanding where things pivot from and understanding how things move, and later on thinking about the anatomy of it, is going to be the best approach to drawing hands better. And eventually you'll be able to just draw simple lines like this, right? You won't have to be overly complicated to be able to draw things, because you'll just know that it's just a matter of adding a little couple overlapping lines to make them look right. It doesn't take much once you have the knowledge. Once you have an understanding of what you're drawing, you can add very subtle line work to things to make them look proper. Knowledge is the key, though. If you don't have the knowledge, if you don't have the understanding from the initial practice and stuff, that gets really hard. But once you do, well, you can draw your arms in any way, shape, or form you want. You want big, burly arms with little biceps, like a big hulking dude. You can do that. You can have really skinny arms in the way of noodles now, and you'll know where things go. And you can always do little tiny muscles by overlapping things, tiny a bit, just a little bit. Things with subtlety are normally the hardest to draw. It's really easy to draw something super exaggerated. It really is. Exaggeration is sometimes used as like a crutch to be able to get something visually appealing out. But a lot of the times we sacrifice accuracy when we just try to exaggerate everything. But when we start thinking about our actual like bodies as those elements that we practice so much, and we try to break down even the most silly ones into shapes, we can start figuring out how it doesn't matter what shape we choose. As long as we have those elements inside, we can create a whole range of characters. Rib cage, hip bones, head. Rib cage, hip bones, I don't know, head. Now I have another character with different proportions. Rib cage, hip bones, head. Now I have another character. When you start adding other elements like your shoulders, you have a completely different approach to things. Then you can start building entire character systems all based on the same basic shapes. So you can go and do entire character design portfolios by using these concepts. And if you have problems using like different character shapes, if you have like an issue with doing the same bodies all the time, well, this is a very good way to break that. You talked about breaking anatomy a few lessons ago. Yeah. So let me show you guys what breaking anatomy means in general. When you understand something, let's do an example of an eyeball. Let's say a lot of people will learn how to draw an eyeball by just drawing a circle and then drawing a circle inside. Some people like to learn by drawing circles and circles and circles, and just drawing an extra circle can give you more definition. Adding an extra circle on top of that, in the form of a highlight, can give you a lot more definition. If you add an extra circle on top of that, let me see. Now you have an eyelid. Let's move the highlight. So 1, 2, 3, 4 circles gets you an eyelid, a show. So now that I understand this, well, now I have to relate this to a three-dimensional shape. So if I do this, and I add one circle, again, another circle, so that's an extra circle, that's going to be 5 circles. Circle, 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 circle. And then this is going from one side to the other. So from this circle in the middle we drew, we have one side, the other, middle, middle. So we go from here to here, from here to there. So now we're connecting these two shapes by finding those points. We go around the shape. So you can do that by drawing 2 points, drawing a dot across, and then going around the surface to the bottom, around the surface to the front, essentially creating like this Pac-Man shape. But that Pac-Man shape still has your eyeball inside. So you're just going around, around, creating your eyelids. So now that you understand that, now that you understand that the eyeball in general is just hemispheres that go around, right? This is all that an eyeball is, a bunch of circles with hemispheres. Well, now that I know that, I can make anything I want out of this. I want to make it into boxes. So I'm going to do a boxy shape with boxy, box, box instead of circles. And then I'm just going to darken some lines. I know that it's going to look like an eyeball because it has the exact same things that an eyeball does. Ta-da! Now you have other eyelids. Let's see. We can take that same eyeball and then just give it a square eyelid. And now I can draw that in any direction I want. So now I apply my knowledge and then I apply my style. So now even something that's not natural, like a squared eye, can be applied in a squared way using my knowledge to be able to figure out how that would work. So that's what I mean about learning and then breaking. You got to learn how something is constructed, how something's built. Understanding it is step 1. Stylizing it is like step 30. Like you can do anything you want once you understand that. And then once you get to that point, you're going to learn simplification. So now you don't have to think about that whole ball. You look at what you're drawing, and essentially what you're drawing is 2 curvy lines. You're drawing a curvy line and a curvy line that intersects it. And that is what an eyeball is. So now any curvy line you draw with any intersecting curvy line can be an eyeball. Any, and I mean any, 2 intersecting lines can turn into an eye. And then you can just have fun playing with whatever stylings you want for them. So that is essentially how this whole process works. You learn, boom, 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 boom. At one point, you need to learn how to use your knowledge from 3-dimensional skills, perspective, and anatomy. You have to kick that in at some point. You can't just do tips and tricks with little circles all the time. At one point, you're going to have to study a little bit, learn visualization, and then come simplification and style. So understanding, stylization, simplification. That is literally the 3 steps to it. Understanding, stylization, simplification. And that is essentially how your brain is going to make like your own styles and stuff like that. And that's how you're going to be able to proceed and learn and like explore within like everything within your basic shapes, right? So if you like to draw anime characters, understand that it's the same concept. It's just a different type of like eyelid inside. It's still a curvy line, maybe not so curvy, but it's still representing curves, and you have all your cool like eyelids and stuff. And then you have the bottom line that might also not be curvy in some anime styles, but you're still getting it all represented through a sphere. So if you want to change that design and draw it from any other angle, you know that it's just a sphere. And you're going to have a much easier time understanding how to draw your character in a bunch of different views, because you now just know that it's just all based on that little simple sphere. You need to learn perspective before you can even consider a style. Like, you can't really have a style unless you understand really what you're drawing. Like, if you're drawing really simple characters, that's cute. Do you know how to move them in space? Do you know how to make them look in different directions? If you don't, then maybe you don't understand that style enough because you don't have enough knowledge about perspective, right? So if you can't move something as simple like that, practice doing it with even simpler stuff. A simple guideline, and practice seeing if this is hard for you. If this is easy for you to move in any direction, well, then you move on to the next step and you add a nose, and then you add eyebrows, and then you add cheekbones. And then you add other elements like chins and ears and everything. Little by little, you have to build up that knowledge, but you can't move to step 10 before you know how to do step 1. That is where everybody like fucks up. Everybody wants to go on to drawing like the awesome caricatures and comic book stuff, right? They want to do like all these awesome like epic drawings of, you know, celebrities and blah, 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 and the people on the train and stuff. But they can't even rotate a sphere with a happy face. They have a hard time understanding how to move that in space. So this is going to seem like an impossible task sometimes if you don't really take the initial steps to learn how to do this. So drawing heads from above and stuff like that is normally hard for people because they don't start with these things. But when you do, it doesn't become quite hard. When you learn how to just wrap around your spheres, drawing heads from above, from below, it's insignificant. It's not hard. Because you're literally just mapping things around a sphere. A jaw, what's a jaw? It's your ears connected to your chin. So if you look and draw through your shape, that's all it is. And then you have a nose, and then you have eye sockets and stuff like that. Again, if you learn volume, this becomes easy. Yes, we're gonna end this right now because I think we've done enough for a nice little mini lesson. So I'm gonna end the stream right now, and then we're gonna just play some music and then have some fun, and then just talk more about this, but in a more relaxed way. So feel free to stick around. Feel free to like. I'm going to just cut the stream so I can just re-upload it really quickly. But come back on, keep your sketchbooks out, and then we'll talk about this a little bit more. All right? I'll see you guys. No, I'm not stopping. I'm just going to stop the stream and then restart it so that I have that video saved, so that we have that lesson for YouTube. So I can just be like, ta-da, upload. All right? So see you guys in a little bit.